Without any further ado, please allow me to welcome the nation's leading governor, Kristi Noem.
Thank you. Okay. You better sit down. You better sit down before I cry. Thank you, Bill, Apollonia, Pastor Wexler, Dave, and Joe. You've honored me. You've honored me by being here today, by being a part of this ceremony, and for sharing from your heart. I think that's what's so special about this state, is that all of us are willing to come together, be honest, have integrity, have conversations to where we truly can join our hearts and work every day to bring hope to this state and to this country. You know, 4 years ago, I stood in front of all of you with my left hand on my dad's Bible and my right hand raised, swearing an oath to uphold the Constitution of both the state of South Dakota, but also the United States of America. I'd won a competitive campaign on Election Day, if you remember, and was honored to be chosen the 33rd governor of our state and the first female governor. We had spent the previous months planning for the day that I would take office. We were learning from previous administrations, from previous governors. We had hired cabinet and staff, worked on a budget plan, considered legislation that would be implemented through the vision that I had committed to following through on for the people of South Dakota. That day 4 years ago when I stood with all of you, I spoke about the fact that I wanted to be a governor that was remembered for working for the next generation. That I wanted to create opportunities for all of our kids and for our grandkids to stay right here in our state, to live their dreams and to be happy. I talked about the fact that we would no doubt face challenges and hardships, but that I believe that our best days were ahead. I thought I was really prepared to be governor, that I had done my homework. I had asked for a lot of advice and I had taken it, and that I was ready to go. Now, standing here today, it is very clear that there were a few surprises along the way. Some unpredictable storms, some events, some policy fights, and even a pandemic. I'm not sure that I saw all of those coming, but who could have seen those coming? We took on all of these challenges together, and we came through stronger than we ever were before. Today, we have the strongest economy and the best financial foundation that we've had in decades. We've created new jobs and careers right here at home. We've made historic gains in economic development and in growth, and through our difficulties, we never lost sight of the fact that our power is in our people, and that here in South Dakota, under God, the people rule. The book of Daniel in the Bible talks about how God puts leaders into place, and it is He that removes them. The responsibility of leadership weighs heavy at times on those who are tasked with it, especially during conflict and difficulty, but it's an honor and it's a trust that I'm incredibly humbled by. There is serious work that we need to do the next 4 years, work that includes protecting our freedoms, investing wisely, and creating opportunities for families to thrive here in our state. But there should be some fun, too. We should celebrate all that's good and all that's happening around us. We should cheer up and encourage each other. All those in our communities, we should laugh together. So that's why I have chosen to title this speech, The Top 10 Things That Surprised Me About Being Governor. It's going to be a little bit of a different speech than probably what you anticipated. Now, those of us of a certain age will remember David Letterman. Do you remember him, the late night talk show host? Oh, I know, they're all going, oh boy, here we go. Every night he would unveil his top 10 list of things that was based on whatever topic was in the news that day or the latest gossip or whatever it was that would make people laugh. It was the most popular part of his show every single night. And even if we were tired from working a long day, we would wait up to see what the top 10 list was going to be before we would head off to bed. So I decided that a top 10 list here today just might make me popular with all of you. So here we go. The top 10 things that surprised me about being governor. Number 10, people care where I am. Now, this may sound really funny to you, but remember the job that I had before I was your governor. I was a member of Congress. I was disposable, forgettable, and I was easily replaced. Sorry about that, Dusty. Listen, for 8 years, I never unpacked my suitcase. I slept on my couch in my office in Washington, D.C. I got stranded in airports hundreds of times at the mercy of the airline industry. Many times I would have a flight canceled. I would miss a prom of one of my girls or a high school play that they were on in a ball game that maybe one of them was playing. Instead, I would spend the night trying to find the cleanest and the quietest spot in an airport to sit and to scour the available flight options and try to get where I was supposed to be. Or I would rent a car and I would drive all night to get home. Many times, my staff or family wouldn't even know that there had been issues until everybody woke up the next morning and thought, I wonder where she's at. Well, not as governor, though. Now I have highway patrol officers who track my every move. And yes, I know that some of you here today think they probably should have done that before I was governor. I have a staff that insists on having every single moment of every day planned and scheduled. A lieutenant governor who seems to care where I am as well. I used to wonder why Larry was calling me every day after we were sworn into office. Then someone reminded me of what the Constitution says the duties of the lieutenant governor are. They're to, number 1, preside over the state Senate, and number 2, to take over if something should happen to the governor. When I answered the phone every morning and it was Larry and he heard my voice and that I was back hard at work, he would go back to bed. Today was not going to be his day. So number 10 on the list of things that surprised me about being governor is that people do care where I'm at. Number 9 on this list of things that surprised me about being governor is that I can wear jeans if I want to. Listen, those of you who know me best know that I don't like dressing up very much. Life is hard enough without being uncomfortable, cold, or stumbling around in silly shoes every day. Because we work in a professional environment, of course, there's times I dress accordingly for what day is in front of me, but it took me almost a year of me turning to my staff and folks that I work with and asking, can I wear jeans? And them saying, of course you can, you're the governor, before I really believed it. Then I found out that I rarely got questioned on my attire, unless I had holes in those jeans. Then I got lots of questions. People would ask me, do you need me to take up a collection to buy you some new jeans, Governor? Yes, Larry, yes, always take up a collection. Always take up a collection. Number eight on the list of top 10 things that surprised me about being governor was the diversity of our high school mascot names throughout history. Now, most of you know that the first gentleman's passion is small towns across our state. He has spent countless days traveling to meet folks from Lemon to Winter, from Centerville to Ipswich. He hears about their challenges and also what problems they might need the state to help them solve. He shoots a basket in every town, and he enjoys the local food and lots of ice cream. And most of the time when he comes home, the very first thing that I hear him say to me is how fantastic the people were and how exciting things were that were going on in those communities. But I can guarantee you the one thing that always got mentioned is he would say, do you know what their high school mascot used to be? Listen, in our state we had the Edgemont Moguls, the Newell Irrigators, the Monroe Wooden-Shoed Canaries, the Centerville Tornadoes, the Vale Beet Diggers, Keystone Dynamiters, the Gregory Gorillas, they're still around, and the Claremont Honkers. How fantastic are those mascots, right? So that number 8 was one of the biggest surprises, was how fantastic our high school mascots have been throughout history. Number 7 on the top 10 list of things that surprised me about being governor was how quickly decisions can be implemented. Remember now, I'm a farmer and a rancher. I ran several small businesses before I served in public office. I was used to making decisions and getting work done. Then I went to Congress. And in Congress, we could make decisions or pass bills, but rarely did we see significant change happen. In fact, it was incredibly frustrating how hard it was to enact real reforms and to help the people right here at home. It could take months or years to fix something that was just common sense and easy to do. As governor, I get the chance every day to be the CEO of our state. We set an agenda. We make decisions. I activate the National Guard. I can ban TikTok on our devices because of national security issues, order the flags to be lowered for important leaders in our state. And while we always look at the consequences of everything that we do for the next generation, it surprised me the amount of good we can accomplish just by making the right decision. Number 6 on the top 10 list of things that surprised me about being governor was I was more inspired than I thought I would be by the hard work and the dedication of our state employees. Now, I always knew that they were committed to South Dakota, but I used to think that working for the state of South Dakota was a 9-to-5 job with a lot of holidays, and that's just not true. In fact, very few of them get to go home at 5 p.m. each day and forget about their responsibilities. There are roads to plow, communities to keep safe, programs to run, health information and resources to deploy, projects to complete, infrastructure to fix, and most of the challenges that we have faced over the past 4 years have dramatically increased their workload. Federal funds and programs, accountability and audits, bomb cyclones, flooding, tornadoes, a derecho, inflation, supply chain issues, COVID, every single one of these have meant much more workload on the people who work for the state of South Dakota, without a promise of more money or more time off. They are dedicated, they work extremely hard around the clock for the state of South Dakota to keep us thriving. Would you give them a round of applause, please? So number 5 on the top 10 list of things that surprised me about being governor, no naps. I was promised some naps, and I still haven't gotten one. And I admit that I'm a little ticked off about it. And to be honest, I was promised a lot more fishing too. So we've got to get that fixed in the next 4 years, okay? Number 4 on the top 10 list of things that surprised me about being governor was I was shocked by all the items that people will mail to me at the governor's office and at home every single week. I love to receive your thoughtful notes, your encouraging cards, see pictures of your families. It's amazing that people still today take the time to sit down and handwrite a letter of encouragement and wisdom to me. Thank you for doing that. I want you to know that I save many, many, many of them. It's incredible how often that note of encouragement comes at just the right time to bless me. On a hard day, I'll get an incredible letter or card that changes my perspective or my attitude. Now, I'll admit I've received some very interesting things as well. For instance, I received a life-size cutout of Wonder Woman with my face on it. Somebody mailed me their birth certificate just to prove they were a real person. I hope they kept a copy for themselves. A real live lobster came one day from Maine. So that was interesting, and someone mailed me a whip made out of bull testicles. So, I have been, it wasn't Larry. It wasn't from Larry. I have also been gifted many, many garden gnomes. Gnomes riding horses, gnomes riding motorcycles, gnomes shooting pheasants, even a gnome riding a rocket named Liberty and carrying an American flag. No matter what the note is or the item that was sent, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me and taking the time to reach out. Number 3 on the top 10 list of things that surprised me about being governor. I haven't had time to go elk hunting. I plan to fix that in 2023. All right, let's keep that on the list. Number 2 on the top 10 list of things that surprised me about being governor is that no one cares if you're the governor when you're tubing at the lake. I made this mistake this last summer. Now, most of you here are thinking that know me pretty well. They say, hey, wait, I thought she couldn't swim. That is correct. I cannot swim. People have tried to teach me for years, but I just tend to sink right to the bottom of every pool or lake that I've ever gotten into. In fact, years ago, my sister tried to teach me how to swim, and I remember her getting on the other side of a pool and encouraging me to swim across the pool to her. As I got down in the water and I flailed wildly, I stood up and wiped the water from my eyes to see how far I had made it, to see I was only farther away from her. And she was laughing hysterically, saying, "It looks like you're having a seizure." Well, despite my lack of natural ability to keep myself afloat, I still love the water. This summer, I was talked into getting onto a tube with a couple of friends who enjoyed what they described to me as was going to be a tour around the lake to see the beautiful homes. Then the driver of the boat proceeded to try to kill us. We asked him to slow down, to no avail. He spun the boat in big circles to create huge waves and then reversed to launch us off of them and into the air. I screamed, I yelled, I laughed a little, and I admittedly almost cried in desperation. It seemed as though this particular driver was a Democrat. And he was out to settle a score or two. At one point, I even yelled, "I am a governor!" But he didn't care. So number 2 is, no one cares if you're the governor when you're tubing at the lake. Number 1, the number 1 thing that surprised me about being governor is how much I love the job. When I first ran for this office, I knew that it would be a great experience. It would be a big opportunity to have a significant impact on South Dakota. I also thought that it might be a little boring or predictable or uneventful based on some of the advice that I'd been given. For example, I had one person say to me when I told them I was going to run for governor, "Well, if that's what you want to do, deal with state aid to education, local issues and taxes, national issues are much more exciting and where all the focus is." After talking to a few folks, I thought, man, I hope I enjoy being governor. I do. I love the challenge of serving in this role. The opportunity to get up every single day with a purpose. Every day is different. The people I work with, I have the best boss, the people of South Dakota. They are the best people in the greatest state, in the greatest country on earth. And I get to be here with my family. I love my family, and they're incredible and wonderful, and I'm so grateful God gave me a supportive family that loves me no matter what, and always believes in me and encourages me. Thank you for trusting me to lead this state for another 4 years. May we always find joy in our work and protect our way of life. This rotunda is filled with 4 statues: courage, wisdom, integrity, and vision. They're here to remind us of the values and the principles that we should embrace as we lead this state through incredibly challenging times. I would ask that as you leave here today, that you would go forward and that you would look at these statues and read what they stand in honor of. One of our South Dakota artists designed them and placed them here so we would remember that the work we do here is significant, that it's important, and that those are the values and the principles that should guide us every single day as we live and work in this state. I am so incredibly blessed to be your governor. I am so incredibly honored that you've given me the opportunity to work with you the next 4 years. May God richly bless you, and may God richly bless the great state of South Dakota. Thank you.